Hi guys, welcome to NZ Money Karma, where you can find freedom from the daily grind through budgeting, simple living and adventure. Wow, it is a cold and miserable blimmin' day, isn't it? It's out there. It's snowing in Christchurch, also Tahi Christchurch, or maybe that's hail, I can't really tell, but it's coating the ground. I want my chickens to go under their shelters, but they're not. Come inside and see what I'm doing to keep warm and keep my family happy and healthy, and my chickens today. The first thing I did this morning to keep everyone warm was get up and light our little fire. So we have two fires, big one in the lounge and this little one in our kitchen. It's not super powerful, but it does just take the chill off the air, and this is where we are mostly in the mornings because the kids are getting up, having their breakfast. We do just tend to heat like the one room, so I've shut the door. Sorry, it's a real mess at the moment, the kitchen, but the next thing I did was bring in the dog's bed. He jumped on the couch and was just kind of trying to snuggle in there, but it's cold in the lounge, so I just move his bed in here. It doesn't fit, it's not aesthetically pleasing, you know, none of this is designed to be like on a Pinterest board, is it? It's just designed to be actually warm. And when it's freezing for us, it's going to be freezing for the animals, right? So I am going to make our chickens some porridge. And that will be really nice just to warm them up from the inside. They've obviously had a cold night because it's been freezing all night as well. They do have shelter, they do have a coop, but for whatever reason they choose not to be in it, so they're in the trees. So I don't know, I've just gone and got a scoop of oats, and I'm just going to make a big pot. They'll love that, and it will warm their bellies up. So while the porridge is bubbling away there, oops, I might need to give that a bit of a mix. I'm also going to start this pumpkin. Now, because pumpkins are so tough, I can't just cut that as it is. So I put it in the oven and I cook it until it's soft, and then I cut it up. And I'm going to do some roast pumpkin. I'm going to do some pumpkin soup also. So the oats are done. We actually like quick rolled oats for our porridge, so I have this big bag of oats, which is good for crumbles and things like that, which I am going to get onto next, but no one actually likes to eat these for porridge, including myself. So I'm just going to put them into a couple of bowls and let it cool down a wee bit, and then take it out to the chooks. Next on the to-do list is to make a crumble, and I'm just going to use all the fruit that's left in this little fruit bowl that sits in the fridge. No one's eating the apples. So I'm going to chop them up. If I need a bit of extra, I'll go out and grab that rhubarb. If you watch my other video, you'll know that was my grandparents' rhubarb that when the last grandparent died, we dug up the rhubarb before the house was sold, and everyone took a little bit of it. So that's something nice every time I grab rhubarb. I'm always thinking about my grandparents. Okay, something completely unrelated, but when you eat a kiwi fruit, do you eat the outside? My husband eats this like an apple, and I thought it was just him, but the other day at work, someone else had a kiwi fruit, and we sat down in the lunchroom, and they also ate it like an apple. And I did question them about it. They said all the fibres in the skin. So I know normally the skin is the good thing. I don't peel apples or whatever, but these are very furry. So let me know in the comments below, do you guys eat the skin of a kiwi fruit? Like, would you eat it like an apple? Or for me, if I was having a kiwi fruit to eat, I would do this. I would just chop it in half and then scoop that out with a teaspoon and then leave my shell of a skin. Yeah, let me know. I'm heading out, albeit as briefly as I can manage, just to get some rhubarb. Oh, I have to be very careful I don't go for a skate. Gee, that looks more like hail than snow, doesn't it? old rhubarb plant. Oh, that was broken, so that's easy. Look at the difference in sky though. It's been about half an hour since I started that first video. It's still freezing, but blue skies are better than grey, right? Oh my goodness, if you were here with me right now, I would touch your arm with my freezing cold hand and go, oh my goodness, how cold is that? It is obviously icy cold out there. Although in saying that, where I grew up was in the North Island of New Zealand, not the South Island. So I do find, I like extreme weather. I find it kind of a little bit exciting. But I like to have it on a day when I don't have to go to work, which is not today. I like to do it. I like to be at home and not have to go out. I did drop the kids off at school today. My husband's more old school than me. He's like, they'll be fine. Let them get the bus. The bus is a good, I don't know, a K and a half, I guess, from our house. So I think, by the time you've walked to the bus in the rain and the snow and the sleet, you may as well, have gone all the way because you'll be wet. So I have dropped them off and then they will bus home. So I think it's not so bad if you get home and you're a bit wet, but getting to school and being wet, ugh, yuck. There we go. So that's going to be pudding for tonight. I'm not going to be here. I might even try and make some custard. I'll have to think about that. I've got custard powder, but we also have tons of eggs, and I've tried to make custard just one time in the past with eggs, proper custard, and it was a complete fail, but I've got a bit of time on my hands, and one of the things with not having... having it be really grotty outside is that you feel under very little pressure to get out there and do anything particular, do you? So I'll have a think about that. I have to go and fill up the sugar from our big stores. I talked about food co-ops a wee while ago. It was a great way to be resilient. That was a depression era hack and something I use. Has anyone joined a food co-op? I'd be interested to know if anyone kind of found that interesting and thought, yeah, that's a good way to save on food. So I've got about 10 kg, well, probably not 10 kgs anymore, but I ordered 10 kgs of sugar. So I just have a big bin of it outside and I just go and fill up my little jar whenever I need sugar. So I'm just making the crumble top. Just got the last of the butter here. And I save these butter packets and I just fold it up and then I use that like grease-proof paper if I'm making something, and I just fold them up and put them in the fridge and there'll be a stack of them, and when I need one, they're great for like if I'm using something in a loaf tin. Okay, I'm just going to interrupt what I was doing there because 2 minutes ago I showed you blue sky. Well, now you can see it's grey sky, so I'm just going to quickly run out and give the chickens their porridge. That's a big truck coming down. Hopefully that's not too hot for them, and I don't know if it's steamy just because it's freezing outside and it's slightly warm, but they're loving that. I've just tried to find a place for them where it's quite sheltered so that if it does start to rain or snow, they don't feel conflicted about should they eat or should they seek shelter. They seem to be loving that. Hey, tuk-tuks. Just put my leftover bits of apple in there as well. Okay, done. Just like a little tiny window in the weather. So that's how I do things. I just try and think, when's the right time to do this job? So I do have a job. Like you could see, there wasn't a lot of chicken food in that chicken feeder. It's mostly just the crumbs. We went out and bought a new bag of chicken food yesterday, so I have a big bin to fill up, and I could fill that up, the little chicken feeder. But it's just not the right weather. It'll get wet and then it will go mouldy. I should have done it yesterday when it was nice and sunny, but I was feeling very lazy and I just wanted to enjoy the nice weather, and she sat down and did some knitting in a patch of sunshine, that kind of stuff, did some sewing. So I guess there's a lesson there, isn't there? Don't put off what you could do today for tomorrow, or whatever that saying is. But I did, and I will, pay the price today, won't I? Now we have an abundance of eggs. We have 5 chickens and plenty of eggs. So I started to think, actually, with those eggs, what else could I make? And I thought, oh, custard. I'll look up a recipe for custard. We have custard powder in the cupboard, but I wanted to make it with eggs, proper custard. That's exactly what it tells me to do. Get 2 tablespoons of custard powder. No, I want to make a proper custard. Okay, based on that recipe, I'm going to have to go out and fill up my sugar jar. It's a bit annoying because I don't want to because it's cold. You're okay, mister. Our garage is actually surprisingly warm. I have to admit, it's not... I would love to turn this garage into like a little sleep out or something one day. I lack the funds for that right now. What have I got? Dried apricots, golden sugar. Full jar, done. My husband says I'm silly, but I can't help but worry about the animals when it's gross like this. Look at that rain. It's like, oh, can you see it? It's coming in sideways. Sorry, I take that back. It's the hail that's coming in sideways. Oh my goodness. Oh, should have put my jacket on. Well, the custard actually turned out really well. I made it, or I cooked it over the stovetop. The only thing I did wrong is I did walk away for a minute to have a look outside, which was actually this view. And then when I came back, I had burnt it a little bit on the bottom, so I had to swap pots. And I forgot to ask the kids actually if they enjoyed it last night because I wasn't here. But I did taste a few spoonfuls, and it was pretty yummy. Then when I'm back in the kitchen, I thought, what else can I do? It's so nice and warm. I didn't really want to leave this room, to be honest, so I might as well be in here doing something. So I thought I'll make some chocolate chip biscuits. I just used the Edmund's cookbook recipe. They call them Santy biscuits, which I think Santy might be mean good in a language. I thought maybe German, but that doesn't really sound right, does it? Because that would be more like Hood or something. I don't know, sorry, I don't speak German. But anyway, I made these biscuits. They have tons of condensed milk. I bought a block of chocolate last week at the supermarket and it was only $1 for a block, so I just cut that up and used that instead of chocolate chips because that's a better price per 100 grams than buying the chocolate chips. By the time those were ready to be put in the oven, then my pumpkin was ready to come out of the oven. And then it's really easy to cut up. So yes, I guess it's energy intensive in the oven sense of the word, but for me, that's better than chopping off a finger trying to hack that open with an axe. My husband just read me out an article that was on stuff. I'm just going to chop up the pumpkin while I chat. I've got some roasted pumpkin here that I'm going to roast, and that's going to be the part of the kids' dinner. My husband's going to sort that because I'll be at work. And here I'm just cutting this up so I can make it into pumpkin soup. But I digress. My husband just read me out an article from Stuff talking about the state of the nation's finances. So, they do State of the Nation speech. Each year this newspaper outlet does State of the Nation's finances, State of the Nation's wealth, I think they call it. And basically what we all know is that most people have gone backwards over the last year. Inflation is high and our wages haven't kept up. So we are all, even if we feel like we're fine, but it's tighter than it was last year. I know that. Everyone knows that because prices have gone up, but the amount of money we're bringing in hasn't kept pace. So it's like, how do we, as, the population, change that? Well, we've got an election coming up, so that's a positive. But we work hard in our household just to kind of government-proof our house. So the decisions we make aren't based on what political party will or won't get in or stay in. We're trying to just look at our own lives and go, what can we do every day to change the way we're living or improve things? And like I said before, I don't think this way of life will carry on forever. Like, I think we've had this bubble of cheap oil. I think that will disappear. And I think times will get generally harder for everybody, no matter where you kind of sit on the social ladder. And so voluntarily, my family and I, we decided a long time ago that we would rather voluntarily downshift our lifestyles rather than be forced into it, and gain the skills we need so that we can still have a successful life and our kids can have a nice life and all those kind of things. Luckily, a lot of these things kind of build into having a cheap life. I guess at the end of the day is what that is. Like, we save a lot of money doing the things we do. And when you save money, you have choices. One of the things that this article outlined was that many people don't have an emergency fund, and if they had to pay for a $500 bill unexpectedly, they would struggle to do that. They would have to borrow the money or put it on a credit card or take out a loan. And that's really worrying, and it's scary, and it's just reflective of the tough times that we currently have. So I'm making here pumpkin soup. I've got roast pumpkin. There's possibly 3 meals out of this one pumpkin that I bought for $1.99. So for a couple of bucks, you can feed your family multiple meals for cheap. And these are skills that we've learnt over the last, really since we had kids, but I guess mostly in the last probably 7 or 8 years, we've really honed those skills. And that's part of the reason why I do this channel, is because I want to share that with you. If you've grown up in a home that didn't have these skills, and to be honest, my mum was not a very good cook, and I don't think she'd mind me saying that because it's just well known in our family. I'm not a great cook. It's not something I love, but I like to be a good budgeter. So that's prompted me to go away and learn these other skills. So if I had to really make this one little pumpkin for $1.99 pumpkin last, I've got soup that I'm going to make. That with some crusty bread, so $2 in the Pack and Save leftover bin, that's a meal. We would call that a meal in my house. So that's one meal. I've got these big chunks of roast pumpkin here that I'm going to roast. I could chop them up into smaller bits and just have them on top of pasta. Making like a kind of carbonara sort of pasta. I would have pumpkin cubes. And it would probably only take maybe 3 of these pieces. And then that would leave you another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces to roast to have on the side of a plate. Or it could become a pumpkin pie, or it could become pumpkin muffins. The thing that it's endless to do, but I bet you if you go to Pack and Save today, the pumpkins are not $1.99. It's the middle of winter, it's snowing. Pack and Save know that you need pumpkins, so they're going to charge you more for it. So buy them when you see them. Buy the thing that's cheap when it's cheap. Pumpkin store, so I've just had them sitting in the top of my pantry. I've got another 4. We grew none this year. We were very unsuccessful pumpkin growers, so I had to buy them. If you want to get out and cut your pumpkins before you cook them, which I didn't, then save the seeds. These will all grow. Every single one of those Queenslander pumpkins, their seeds will germinate for you. I guarantee it. No, I'm not guaranteeing it. That's not true. But you will have a very high success rate if you chuck these into some compost. And you'll never need to buy a pumpkin again, and you will feed your family for free. This is the key to success, I think. It's trying to eliminate every particular bill that you have. So whether or not it's a food bill, not even like the whole food bill, but just think like, I'm going to eliminate my pumpkin bill. I don't need to next year spend $20 on pumpkins because I'm just going to grow them this year myself. and then I don't have to spend that $20. That's what we do in our house, and we are going to be doing more of that. My husband and I have been talking, and we are feeling pretty confident that we're on track for our early retirement, and we've got a bit of a plan together. So my husband's actually 5 years older than me, so he is going to go first. The plan is that in 6 months' time, he will leave his job, and I will cut down to just 2 days a week if my employer will allow it. And we're going to just try living on my 2 day a week wage for a while. We're going to start that now, so 2 days a week, if I wrangle it right, that should be about $1,000. That's what we aimed to spend this year. But we do end up kind of borrowing money from our savings or investing just a little bit less so that we can do the trip or have the nice present for the kids, that sort of thing. So we are not going to be doing that for the next 6 months. We're going to just live on the 1,000 and just see how that feels. So why 1,000? Well, one, we're just a bit nervous to start withdrawing our money. Like, we've gone from just saving, investing, doing all this stuff. And now we're going to have to draw it down. And that feels super uncomfortable. It feels so uncomfortable. And that's why we've decided that he'll go first because he's older. And even though I want to go first, that's just being a bit selfish. I've had definitely a lot more time off in my life than my husband ever has. And he's been a very hard worker since he was a boy. He worked 35, 40 hours a week all through high school just because of his family's situation. So he's kind of been like in an adult work environment since he was a young teenager. When I met him, he worked 3 jobs. He couldn't stay awake at night. We would go out places and he'd fall asleep at the table because he was so exhausted. So he deserves a break. That's what we've been working hard towards, and we're almost there. So he's going to do that. So that's 6 months from now. He's literally just told the first person at his work that that's his plan. So that's exciting. It makes it real, and it means that we can't kind of go back, which freaks me out a wee bit. So anyway, I'm going to try and do these 2 days. We're going to stick to our budget. We will still have a travel budget. That will be something different. We're happy to draw down for that, but that amount is a lot less than, your entire living costs. So yeah, fingers crossed we've worked it out. I do feel so much anxiety that I've done these numbers wrong. Yeah, so I guess that's the other reason for just me carrying on working and him not. We both have jobs that in theory are quite easy to get back into, but different times. This last time when I've got this job that I'm currently in, I have never ever gone for a job and not got it before. But I went for a job, I had an interview, and I didn't get it. That's the first time that's happened to me in my life. And it just gave me pause. And, it started snowing and the dog's outside. Give me a tick. Yeah, so crazy, huh? I'm feeling excited, nervous. But the reason that I brought that up was because one of the things we're going to do, that we've started doing, is really looking at each of our bills and thinking, how can we lower that bill? Even something as simple as our wood. Can we forage some wood over the summer, which means we need to buy in less wood for winter? Could this YouTube channel offer some kind of income? Well, I would love that, but no. I started it as a hobby, and a hobby it will stay. There is a little tiny bit of income, but honestly, it's just so little, 50 New Zealand dollars a month. That would be, I guess between 50 and 100 New Zealand dollars. 100 is the most I have ever got. And then by the time you pay your tax and whatever, that's 70 New Zealand dollars. So no, it's not a job. It's not a way I could make some income. It would be awesome. If I could make in my hand $100 a week, I feel like that would give me enough confidence to leave my job. Even though it's not enough to cover costs, it just feels like it's something. And it feels less like putting your foot out on the ledge and just jumping. Feels like, oh, actually there's a step there. But that's not the thing. It was never my intention when I started it, like, oh, I have to make some money. Otherwise I would have given up ages ago. It's something I do because I enjoy it. It's a hobby. But if all of a sudden it all took off and, you know, the world turns to pot and everyone's like, oh, I just want to live really frugally and this lady in New Zealand's doing it, maybe I can do it too, I would be very happy. That would make my year. But no, I'm not banking on that. Well, that's enough of a midwinter natter from me. I reckon you guys probably have other things to get on with in your day too. The biscuits are in the oven, the soup's made, the veggies are chopped for dinner, my husband's going to take care of that, the crumble's cooked, the chickens have had their treats, the dog's been outside for a wee, and it was literally just for that, and then it started to snow again and he was crying at the back door. I'm going to take some time, sit down, do a little bit of knitting. I'm working on another vest like this brown one that I'm wearing. It's a little bit too big, so it's nice for around home, but I guess it's too wide is how it's too big, but then it's also too short, so it's a bit small and a bit big all in one go. So I'm having another go at another vest. They're super versatile. I absolutely love them, but I'm making an extra small this time and hopefully that'll work. So catch you guys next time. Bye for now.